Hey, what's going on, guys? Joe McCall, the Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast. Really glad you're here. Guess what? Today we're going to be talking about my favorite subject, vacant land investing. And I got a good friend named Michael Poggi. And this is a very active investor who's been in the business a long time, very, very long time. And he's got some really cool, amazing stories to tell. He is in this special niche of making money on little quarter acre infill lots in subdivisions and HOAs and building long-term wealth and cash flow, tax-free, done for you with vacant land. It's really amazing. And I like Michael. We've met, I don't know, a long time ago, but we hung out about how long ago? I'll ask Michael in a minute here when I bring him on, but in Tampa, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and really dove deep into what he's doing. And I thought, hey, listen, can I just get you on my show and we can talk about it, introduce you to my audience, because I think there's something really valuable that I want you guys to listen to and learn from Michael, not only how to do business with him, but how to grow your own passive income or long-term appreciation with vacant land in some of the lots that most people say, I don't want to do anything with, right? Michael's found a way to make money with that. I think we should just bring him on right now, shouldn't we? What's up, Michael? How are you?
Hey, hello, Joe. Thank you so much for having me on today.
I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. You're in Florida. Where in Florida?
South Florida, near Fort Lauderdale, about 10 minutes west of Fort Lauderdale. My wife and I have 2 young children, and we live on an acre with a whole lot of zoo animals here. And we just love our life here. And we have so much passive income and freedom that we do quite a bit of traveling and enjoying the fruits of our labor.
Yeah. So I've seen videos and pictures of these animals that you have, and it's only 1 acre. It's how you, what you've done there is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So I want to ask you questions about the zoo and the animals that you have, but that's not why people are here. Let's talk about, you've been in the business a long time, since the 80s, 90s?
25 years.
Okay, nice. And how'd you get started in real estate?
Well, I was a stockbroker in Chicago as a young man, and I learned from my clients, my wealthy clients told me that they had 95% of their money in real estate and only 5% of their money in stocks. So when they would send me money to trade their stock portfolio, they would send me $1 million, but they had 10 million in real estate. And I couldn't figure out why until finally I got to know them very well, became friends with many of the successful clients of mine, and they showed me that they make way more money from everything from vacant land to new construction to flipping to apartment buildings, you name it. And that caused me to sell my stock brokerage firm and move to Florida and start to invest in real estate myself.
So this was early 2000s.
Oh, long before that even. As a stockbroker, it was even before 2000. So okay. I started just practicing with real estate probably just before 2000. Yep.
Okay, cool. And then what got you interested in vacant land? And specifically, we'll talk in a minute about what you're doing in Arkansas.
It was kind of because I didn't have any choice. I didn't have a couple $100,000 to do a fix and flip, and I didn't have the experience or the knowledge. So I had to start somewhere. So all I had was $500. So I started in this business with $500. That's pretty tough to become a multi-millionaire from starting off with 500. But what I did was I had $500 in my self-directed Roth IRA. So therefore I could use it for real estate. And what I did was I ended up calling many sellers that owned vacant lots in resort communities. And I would ask them, I'd say, hey, listen, I see your lots for sale for $5,000. And again, that was 25 years ago. And I would say to them, look, I don't have $5,000, but if I give you $500 down, could I please make you payments for 5 years? And at the end of 5 years, you can then give me the deed. So this way you have no risk. And many of them said, no, they want the money right now. But some of them said, yeah, you know what? I will take you up on that, because if I sell it for cash right now, I'm going to have a big capital gains tax, and I would rather spread it out over the 5 years. So it worked out great. So one older gentleman gave me a break, my first lucky break, and I put $500 down in my Roth IRA, and I paid my payments on time every month. And at the end of 5 years, the lot had doubled. So it went from 5,000 to 10,000. So I said, wow, that return on my money is quite good, especially when I didn't use much of my own money, only $500 down payment. So I was able to control 5,000 with $500, which is leverage, which you can't do in mutual funds, can't do that in stocks. So when I learned that philosophy, I thought to myself, wow, this is pretty cool. Maybe I can do this over and over again. So what happened was I put that lot for sale at 10 grand, and instead of saying $500 down or 1,000 down or 20% down, I put different words in my ad. I said 0 down payment, 100% financing, no credit check, everyone approved. And I got 80 phone calls in 2 weeks just for one lot. Now, if I had 40 or 50 lots, I probably would have sold them all on terms. So I didn't realize how good I had it. So I ended up selling that lot on terms, and I made another 10% return on my money for additional 5 more years. So not only did I make a double, which is 100% return, which equals 20% a year approximately, but I also made another 10% more per year, all in my self-directed Roth IRA, which we call a real estate IRA. That's not at Schwab and it's not at Bank of America. It's with an administrator. So when I did that, all of a sudden, I realized that I've got a good system. I can buy on terms, I can sell on terms, and make a shitload of money using other people's money, meaning the seller. So my buyer paid me on time every month, Joe. He paid me every time, every month on time, and I went ahead and then started to do it on a bigger scale. So I still didn't have much more money in my IRA at the time. So what I did was I borrowed $20,000 from my brother, which allowed me to put $500 down on 40 vacant lots. So now I'm controlling 40 in my IRA instead of just 1 or 2.
And let's rewind a little bit for people who don't understand what a self-directed IRA is or the benefits of that.
Yeah.
This is basically a tax-deferred account, right? Where
it's a tax-free account.
Tax-free account. So you've already paid taxes on that $500 you had in there. So
yes,
any profits and any gains, you don't pay taxes on ever again.
Not only the gains, but even the income interest. So as people were paying me payments of $500 a month from one lot, every single penny that came into my IRA was tax-free. So the profit plus the interest together accelerated my IRA at exponential rates so fast that it got into the $500,000 and million and 2 million and so on, just from doing the same thing, duplicating that system over and over and over again.
Right. And you can't, the thing that's important to remember, if you don't know this, guys, is that money has to stay in there, right? You can use it to pay for expenses to manage and sell the property, but you can't use that money until you're 65 or 70, whatever, right?
59 and a half.
59 and a half.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like a good plan to me, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you started doing, you borrowed some money from a friend through the self-directed IRA. You bought a bunch of properties, and then you sold them on terms. So go ahead and finish your story there.
Yeah. So I ended up borrowing 20 grand from my brother. And then I went ahead and called many sellers. And I said the same thing. Listen, I've got $500 down. Can I buy your lot for $5 grand? And I did that over and over and over again until I finally found 40 sellers that would agree to that. So that means that I was making 40 payments a month on time without fail. In order to do that without defaulting, I did some other things. I certainly had a business. I had some fix and flips. I had some new construction houses. So I took that profit and was able to go ahead and use that to make payments for the vacant lots so that I never defaulted.
Well, you also were selling them on owner financing, right? So you were getting some payments, cash flow in from selling those lots, right?
Well, when I acquired those 40, at that time they weren't up yet. So I didn't sell the 40 lots until they went up. So when they doubled from 5 to 10, I waited 5 years. So that means that I doubled my income, which means I made 20% a year return, which is very high compared to typical stocks, mutual funds, bonds, annuities, and stuff, and gold and silver for that matter.
Okay, so you had to find a way to make payments to the owners, the sellers.
Yes, sir.
During that time while you waited until the property is appreciated.
Correct. You nailed it.
Okay, cool. And on average, what was your payment to the seller each month?
Well, I was able to negotiate sometimes zero interest, which, some of them said, yeah, just make me a payment. And if you pay me my full price that I'm asking, I'll do it at zero interest. So with my good negotiating skills, I was able to get sometimes zero interest or 4% interest or 6% interest. And my payments were usually a couple $100 a month, very low. And then if I wanted to, I can pay them off early. So I had no prepayment penalty. And then also, if I wanted to, I can just request a balloon payment at the end of 5 years. So rather than have to have a hefty payment, I could structure it where my payments were low enough, but the balance that was due at the very end upon the last payment, which made it easy for me because by that time I can put them for sale and find a buyer.
Yeah, and just so people know too, if you would have had more money in your IRA, you could have been making those monthly payments from your IRA, right?
Well, I was making them from the IRA. I did those other real estate transactions in the IRA so that I was able to have the money in there. So I would do
Okay.
a fix and flip in my IRA. I would do a new construction house in my IRA, things like that, apartment buildings, and that gave me enough profit that I never had to worry about missing any payments.
Okay. Now, some people are asking, well, why didn't you just sell them right away on owner financing? Why did you wait, 5 years for the price to
Good
double or
question.
whatever?
And that's actually one of my biggest mistakes was selling them too soon. Even 5 years later was too soon. Here's what I mean. If I sell a lot on terms, I'm going to collect probably between 10 and 12%, somewhere around there, maybe even 15 if I'm lucky. But 10 or 12% is what I would collect in interest. But the lots went up 20% a year. So if I hold them, I make more return. If I sell them too soon, I do okay. But rather than have cash flow now, I would rather have more profit later. So by holding the lots longer term, I was able to make way more money. So one of the things that I learned was that the second time I tried this was in a resort community. This is where now I was actually buying lots that had real good value to the next person because there was lakes and golf courses in there. And what I did was I bought many, many lots in Texas at 10 grand in a subdivision that had lakes and golf courses, a true resort community. And those lots doubled after 5 years. They doubled to 10 grand. They doubled to 20 grand. And I went ahead and sold them on terms. And I thought that was pretty smart. But guess what? Now those same lots are $65,000. So had I held them, I would have made way more money instead of the interest that I made. So I like holding land long term. Now, if you're one of those people that needs short term cash flow right now, then yeah, you should sell them right away, which we can do that for you. Our company actually is all turnkey. In other words, we do that for our customers where we find the lots for them, we sell the lots for them so they have passive income and cash flow. So we do it all turnkey.
Okay. All right. So talk about then the next step of your journey. What did you start doing after you were buying these lots?
We ended up collecting all that passive income from several hundred lots in my Roth IRA, which built my portfolio into the multi-millions. And since I wasn't paying any taxes, Joe, that means that every time I took a profit or collected interest, tax-free, I got to reinvest all of that money. So it accelerated my wealth so fast that if I would have done the exact same transactions in my LLC or my name, it would have been several $1,000,000 less. And we calculated that with my accountant after we did all the transactions. So what I learned was that the more I can do tax-free, the faster I can build my wealth. It doesn't mean that I didn't do some in my LLC. I did many of them in my LLC, but I got to use that money for vacations, cars, payments, fun, Christmas presents, etc. So what I want to say though is that the income that I made coming into the IRA was then reused to buy more lots to get into the 500 lots and 700 lots. So I've probably bought and sold over 3,000 lots in the last 25 years. And if someone has the ability to hold those lots, they're going to probably make more money because of how fast they're going up, because of all the construction going on in the resorts that I invest in. But what's interesting is that most people don't realize, Joe, that they can use their IRA at Schwab or Fidelity or Bank of America and roll it over, which is not taking it out with a penalty. It's just moving it and using a self-directed IRA at an administrator. But even better, you can use your old 401k plan and roll that over into a new self-directed Roth IRA, a real estate IRA. Or one more secret, that you can use your current 401k plan. And most people don't know that. They think, well, my 401k plan where I work, I'm stuck with it until I quit or I, God forbid, get fired. But actually, your 401k plan where you currently work can be used to borrow against it. So if you have 100 grand, let's say, in a 401k plan where you work, you can borrow up to $50,000 to use for vacant lots, just like many of my clients did. So many of them borrowed money from their 401k plan. They invested in vacant lots. Some of them still hold them today, and they're up double, triple, quadruple from 5 or 10 years ago. It's amazing.
Okay, cool. I love it. So talk about what are the advantages of investing in vacant land versus investing in a house or a multifamily, a syndication or something like that?
Yeah, great question, Joe. And I know that you know this answer, but I appreciate you letting me tell you because you know this just as well as I do. You're an expert at this too.
I'm laying it up for you.
I know you are. I know you are. So, when you think about it, you can have a tenant in a house and paying you rent, which means that now you have to manage the tenant. You have upkeep, you have repairs, maintenance, taxes, insurance, and all kinds of aggravation. Or you can be a landlord of land like I am. I'm a landlord of land. That means that I've got someone making me payments on vacant lots with no headaches, as in I don't get any phone calls. There's nothing to do. There's no repairs. There's no maintenance. And it's so simple. And I actually collect hundreds of incoming payments every month on auto pay. That means that on the first of the month, hundreds of people come in and make me payments into my Roth IRA tax free. And all I got to do is once a month check to make sure all the payments were received. The chances of someone defaulting, Joe, are almost zero. Here's why. When someone buys a lot from you and is making you payments, they don't get the deed from you until they made their last payment. That means that you have the deed and control of that piece of land. So if someone were to default, there's no foreclosure. It's just simply sending them a notice of default. And if they don't cure the default, then you can take that same lot and resell it to someone else without having to go through any foreclosure. So people know that, and they don't want to lose their deposit, and they don't want to lose the payments they made to you until they defaulted. So it's a very safe lending program, so to speak.
Yeah, and even if you had to foreclose on it, what's the big deal with that anyway? If you had to go through a foreclosure process,
Probably $400 or $500, I would guess, to foreclose. But again, it's not necessary. Just think about it like an automobile loan, Joe. If you go to buy a car and you put down 10 grand down on a car and you borrow 40 grand from the dealer, you owe the dealer 40 grand. Well, you don't have the car title, and you don't get the car title until you make your last payment. That means that the car is really not yours. Until you make your last payment to the dealership is going to be sure that you make your payments. If not, they come and take the car. It's that simple.
yeah,
Same thing applies to this. It's just like selling cars on terms, but it's selling vacant lots on terms. Now, I have specific criteria, Joe, that I'd love to share with you guys, if that's okay, unless you have something else first.
Yeah, no, this is good. I have some more questions, but I want to see your criteria. Yeah.
Yeah. So after all of the years of making mistakes from 25 years ago, I first was buying lots in Florida, like Punta Gorda, Lehigh Acres, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and everywhere I could find good lots near me where I live. And that wasn't the smartest thing to do. It doesn't mean that I didn't make money. I did. But the best choices were not where I live. So I don't want to invest where I live because I have to be close to it. I don't need to see the lot. I can see it from Google Earth. I don't need to go walk the lot. If I do, I just fly there and look at it. So my criteria is that it must be in a resort community with more than one lake, more than one golf course, and lots of amenities, and only 10% built out or less. Because if it's 90% built out, then the prices are too high. If it's 0% built out, then it's too soon, and there's no houses, no infrastructure, no Walgreens, no Walmart, no schools, no banks. So it must meet all of my criteria. And some of that includes under 20 grand. So I never buy a lot above 20 grand. It has to be, let's say 15 to 20,000, somewhere in there. It must be buildable. So it has to be at least a quarter acre. I don't buy 5 acres unless I'm going to build houses on them. I don't buy 10 acres or 50 acres. None of that is easy to sell. So instead, I only buy lots that are easy to resell, not only because they're cheap to buy and they're a quarter acre, but also cheap to sell. So the next person can still afford it. So I'm buying them only in resorts, under 20 grand, less than 10% built out. They must have low taxes. Like, for example, I only pay $60 a year, where in Florida, I was paying $250 a year. They must have low cost of living. They must have good schools, good churches, good banks, Walmarts, pharmacies. Everything needs to be there in place. And there must be lots of permits getting pulled to build houses. So if there's an area where there's no activity, Joe, I'm not going to go in there hoping that one day builders start building in there. There must be permits being pulled by the thousands. And if I see that, then from my data, from my research, then I know that subdivision is going to be one of my best choices. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So it's got to be a buildable lot. It needs to be under 20
Under
grand.
20,
Is that what you said?
yep, 20 grand is my maximum purchase price.
And there can't be more than 10% of the lots sold in this community.
No, not sold, built. There has to be,
Yeah.
less than 10% of the houses constructed. And I don't buy any lots on a lake or golf course. Number one, because they're too expensive. For example, if I buy a lot on the lake for 100 grand and I have to sell it at 200 grand, it's hard to find buyers at 200 grand because there's very few of those. But if I buy a lot at 10 grand, for example, and sold it at 20 grand, there's way more buyers that can afford a $20,000 lot from you guys than a $200,000 lot. So it sells faster, which means now you can reuse the money from your Roth IRA quicker and turn it and do it again. So it's like 6 months or less for a $20,000 lot rather than 2.5 years for a $200,000 lot. So I never buy expensive lots anymore, even though I did make some money on the lake lots and golf course lots when I practiced. I realized, though, that the time that it took to sell them was much longer and I made less of a profit.
So you're looking for where they're actually pulling permits and building new homes.
Very fast, though. It must be a very fast growing area. Otherwise, we won't make money in our lifetime. I want it to be where the lots will appreciate because there's homes going up all around the subdivision and forcing the values up from construction going on. If there's no construction going on, the lots will stay the same. There's no reason for them to appreciate.
So I'd imagine there's not a whole lot of communities like this in the U.S., or is there?
Correct. It's only a handful. And I had to pay a lot of money to have research done when I first started to find me the fastest growing subdivisions in America. And so what happened was that when I paid for all this research, it was close to 10 grand in research, and it brought me all the data that I needed, meaning, does it meet all of the criteria I just told you? Meaning, is there a lot of permits being pulled? Are they already cut up into quarter acres? I don't want to buy a piece of land and have to cut it all up. That's a lot of problems. So I wanted infill lots, like you mentioned from the beginning, Joe, you nailed it. Infill lots that I can buy that where it's not buying from a builder. I'm not buying from any developer. I'm buying one lot at a time from a seller who was not for sale. I also, Joe, never buy off the MLS because the MLS has sellers who either have lots of liens, meaning they didn't pay their taxes, they didn't pay their POA fees or something, or maybe the lot isn't really a buildable lot. So I stopped buying from MLS, and instead I send out thousands of offers to sellers that are not for sale. And I say, hey, I'll buy your lot. And I don't try to get it dirt cheap because I would probably never get that many lots if I try to offer too low. So I offer close to retail because I want the lot. I don't care if I buy it at full price. It's going to go up 20% a year anyway. So instead of buying lots for half the price and having to fight with sellers every day and trying to turn down lots that they won't give me a break, I'll buy them even if I have to at retail or close to retail if I have to, because I want the inventory. Being in real estate is how you make money. Not being in real estate is how you don't make money. So the key is to be in the game and own as much real estate as possible, just like the Monopoly game. It's the same thing. How much real estate can you control so that when you are ready to retire, you have exit strategies to sell lots on terms or to sell them for cash or whatever you choose.
So that's fascinating because you're now trying to buy land because you have a long-term outlook, right? You're okay with buying land at closer to today's value. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the reason why is that if I'm making offers and having to fight with sellers to try to save a couple $1,000s, it's not worth it. Our time is more valuable. And if I just buy the lot where it's at, then I get it. If not, I lose good deals by trying to negotiate with sellers too much. So I try to offer right below market value so that I can actually get some lots. Otherwise, I don't want to just get one or two. I want to get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 lots every single month. So I'm actually sending out thousands of offers at a time in order to get the lots that I want for me and also any of my clients that have said, Michael, I want to hire you. I want you to find my lots. I want you to inspect them for me. I want you to take pictures. I want you to walk the lot. So I have a team of people in place, Joe, that handle all of that, from walking the lot, taking photos. I mean, everything that is all done for you, turnkey.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Okay, so you have in your business right now, you have your own land, but you're also helping other people find land for themselves, right?
My own lots are for my children when I pass away. I'm already successful enough to not have to work. So I'm building my legacy, and I'm also building funds to open up a giant drive-through zoo. So my goal is to help more animals and save species from extinction. So one of the things we do now, Joe, with the animals is we rescue a lot of rare animals. Like we rescue lemurs, we rescue monkeys, capuchin monkeys, owl monkeys, squirrel monkeys, things like that. So we rescue a lot of animals, which is my passion. So my passion is to help animals and also to leave a big legacy for my children who are only 3 years old and 5 years old. So when I pass away, they're going to inherit well over 1,000 lots by the time I pass.
Nice. Okay, cool. So talk a little bit about what you do for people who are looking at this thinking, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like, how do I find this land? How do I buy it? Do you teach them how to do it themselves, or do you just do it for them? How does that work?
We don't, because if I were to interview 100 people, and if I were to say to 100 people, hey, would you like to learn all of my system and do it yourself and buy a course, or would you like me to do it for you since I'm an expert and charge a small fee to help you out? And 99 out of 100 people say, Mike, you do it. I'm busy. I've got a business, or I've got a job, or I've got family, and I don't have time to not only learn all of that, especially all of the mistakes that I've made over the years. They don't have time to learn all of that, and they would rather have a done for you program and not buy the course. So that's how my program turned into done for you. It used to be a course for sale, and all of my students said, Michael, this is amazing, but you're so good at it. Why don't you do it for me, and I'll pay you $1,000 per lot. Sure enough, that's how it turned into a done for you program, where now we provide lots for builders and for investors that want to buy lots in fast growing resort communities.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. So then talk about what it is that you do. Let's say, you get on the phone with somebody and they're interested. What do you walk them through? What are the steps?
The process is for them to get to know me better. And so obviously that they don't know me, they don't trust me. So we have to establish at least some kind of trust, so they know my credibility and my credentials. They can see that my books are online on Amazon, things like that. But then the next step would be to really take them through the subdivision and show them what the subdivision looks like. Show them the lakes, show them the golf courses, show them the vacant lots, show them the appreciation over the last 10, 20 years. And all that's done typically on a webinar where I can, zoom in on Google Earth and show them what the subdivision looks like. I could show them comparable prices that shows that the lots are selling for higher than what I sell them for, so that people know they're at least buying at the market or below the market. They like that. And once someone feels comfortable, they would then just place an order. They would say, Michael, I'd like to roll over my IRA from Schwab or Fidelity or Bank of America into a self-directed IRA and use 100 grand for lots, or 500 grand for lots, or 200 grand for lots. And then we would end up finding those lots, which takes about 2 to 4 weeks. I don't keep them in inventory. I have my own lots in inventory, but I don't keep my new customers' lots in inventory. When someone says, yes, I'll take some, whether it's 1 lot or 10 lots, whatever it is, that's when we go out and start the process. We let our team know to start the process of making offers, negotiate with sellers, walk the properties, check for liens, take photos, send out contracts to the sellers. If the lot passes all of my criteria, then we buy it and take it into inventory. And the following day, it gets sold to an investor immediately. basically a simultaneous close. So that means that one day I buy it for the customer who ordered them. The next day they're going into their IRA or their old 401k plan that's moved to an IRA, or they're going into their LLC or their name or whatever they want. Now, some people don't have the money to buy a lot. They're running between 16 and 20,000 right now. So if they don't have the money to buy a lot or several lots, we finance them. Again, we will help them by letting them put a small down payment down and make payments from their IRA or from their LLC, whatever it is, but we help pretty much everybody.
All right, so let's talk about some example numbers on one of these deals, can we? So
Yep.
So what are you buying them for? Or what is the end client buying them for?
My cost after everything from the mailers to the cost of having someone walk the lot who lives there, to paying for lien searches, even though sometimes we find a lot that we do a lien search that we pay for, but the liens are too high and we don't buy the lot. So we have lien searches that don't ever go for a lot that we're buying. We have we take all the photos, we print all the maps. So our cost right now is around 15 or 16,000 right now. Now, a couple of months from now, that might be 17 or 18,000. But currently, we're right around 16 or 17,000. And every 3 or 4 months, we have to raise our buy price to the sellers in order to be able to get some. Otherwise, if we don't raise our buy price, then we get no one say yes. So every 3 or 4 months, we raise our buy price by $500 to $1,000, which now speeds up the process of actually getting some good lots. When the lots come in and they pass all my criteria, we send them to the investor in an email saying, here's lot number 1, check it out. Here's lot number 2, check it out. And they see the lots, they see the pictures, the maps, and all the photos. And then all they do is say, okay, sounds good. I like them. Let's close. So we close the following day by doing wire transfers. And then the deeds transfer into that person's name or their IRA. So if the IRA has the money in it, then the IRA owns the lots, and the deeds would be titled in the IRA with the client as the beneficiary.
So yeah, cool. You're only marking it up a little bit for each of these lots, but you're doing a lot of the work to make sure they're good lots.
Doing high volume, that's all. So there's plenty of money to be made if we just not be greedy, take a little bit of profit on each lot, but do a lot of business. And plus, a lot of clients will buy 5 lots or 7 lots and then come back and buy another 5. Or they'll refer us to their wife or their husband or their brother or sister or neighbor or friend. So we continuously get referrals from people that say, hey, I really appreciate your help. I want to do this for my son and my daughter. I want to set up an IRA for my son. I want to set up an IRA for my daughter. So anybody, any age, can own vacant lots. And when you think about it, what would you rather give your kids when you pass away, or grandkids for that matter? Would you rather give them stocks and mutual funds that have high risk and very low upside, or give them vacant lots like real estate that is lower risk and has the ability to be sold on terms for passive income? You can't sell your mutual funds on terms or your stocks. You're stuck selling them for cash. No other choice.
Can you talk about in some of these communities, there's a lot of variation, but what makes a good lot and what makes a bad lot, right? Because, these are subdivisions, I'm assuming, with hundreds, if not thousands, of vacant lots there, right? So what makes a good lot?
So let me talk about what makes a bad lot first. A bad lot would be one that is not buildable, and that could be smaller than 0.25. 0.25 is a quarter acre. So if it's 0.21, sure enough, the seller said, yes, I want to sell it, but we look at it and we say, no, it's too small. So we don't take any lots below 0.25, which is a quarter acre. Second thing is that maybe they're close to high tension wires or a power plant or something of that sort. You know what I mean? So we don't take any of those. And there's quite a few. I mean, there's obviously electrical lines running through every subdivision in America. So we don't take any of those lots. We turn them down. So when a seller says, yes, I'll sell you my lot, that lot might be cheaper because it's next to high tension wires. You know what I mean? It might be 8 or 9 or 10 grand. So we don't take those. The other thing is that maybe there's too many liens on the property. So if a property is for sale and it's a good lot, it's buildable, it's big enough, it's not next to high tension wires, but the seller owes $5,000 in back taxes or $5,000 in POA fees, which is property owners association fees, or both, or maybe there's a mortgage on there from a divorce, we pass up that lot also. But guess what? We've paid for lien searches on all of those lots. We've paid for lien searches on lots that we don't know if there is liens. Until we find out that there's liens, we don't know any better. If the liens are too much, we lose the lien search payment. That's an expense that we have to pay for, right?
Yeah.
So now, what is a good lot? 0.25 or bigger. So it could be 0.31, 0.36, doesn't matter. Anywhere between a quarter acre and an acre, they all sell for around the same prices, in between 15 and 30,000, somewhere in there. And we want to make sure that the lot is buildable. So, for example, even though all of the lots are sloped where I invest, because it's in the mountains, there's no grass to mow, which saves me $70 every 2 weeks. And it doesn't matter if it's sloped up or down or not, because the builders in there build on all slopes. As a matter of fact, the lake lots are the steepest lots. The lake lots where you build a house is on such a steep slope that to get down to your boathouse, you got to walk down a set of stairs facing straight down. And then, so from your patio on your house, you're looking down at the top of your boathouse. You see the roof of your boathouse. Those are all very steep. But all of the executives who live in there, that live on the lakes and golf courses, build on slopes. So slopes are no problem. There are no flat lots in the resorts that I invest in. So different than Florida by far.
Yeah. So some of these communities, when I've looked at them, you'll see lots that are for sale for $9,000 and $50,000. Like, so why are some of those lots for sale for cheap and some of them for sale for so much more?
50,000 may be sewer and water, and it may be over an acre, or maybe closer to the lake, like right across the street from the lake, or right across the street from the golf course. So that's very possible. But the other thing is that if someone wanted to find a lot for 9, 10, or 12,000, they probably could do so, but they need to hop on an airplane, which is $400. They need to fly to Bella Vista. They need to rent a hotel for how much a night. They need to rent a car. They need to drive through the subdivision for at least 2 or 3 days. They need to look at lots for sale. They need to make offers to multiple sellers to find one that will sell them the lot, and so on. Then they have to pay for a lien search to make sure there's no liens. Otherwise, they can end up finding a lot that has 3 or 4 or 5,000 in liens. Then they have to send a contract to the seller. They have to then, pay for the closing costs and all of that. So by the time they get done, they're at the same price that I'm at, minus my small fee. So it's no different. So if somebody wants to do it themselves, to piddle around with 1 or 2 lots, then they should just go ahead and do it themselves. They wouldn't need my help. But if someone wants a concierge like myself, because they're busy, maybe they're a veterinarian, maybe they're a dentist, maybe they have a full-time job, they're not going to want to do all of that. So basically, we're providing a service that I do for myself. I'm finding lots for myself and my family and my friends. I might as well do it for you. Simple as that.
I like it. Okay, one more question. We'll wrap it up here. Do you find that in the past, has the housing market, has land kind of followed the housing market? When
question.
Houses are going up or down?
It's actually not quite correlated. I'll give you an example. If the housing market takes a big dump and houses drop, by 30% or 50%, cheap vacant lots hold their value and they kind of stay the same. So, for example, all during COVID, when there was no construction going on, my vacant lots in my resorts didn't go down any, but they didn't go up at all. So for 3 years, I had no appreciation. But then when COVID was over and all of the builders all around town started to hire their subcontractors and then start to submit permits and then start to gear up and start building again, all of a sudden that caused a frenzy of not only builders but investors fighting over the lots, which forced them up, and they've doubled since COVID. So in the last 2.5 years, even though they sat for 3 years and did nothing, now in the last 2.5 years, they went from around 8,000 for a good lot to right around 16 to 20,000 for a good lot. So they've doubled just since COVID was over. So typically I average about 20% a year, even during slow times. If you average the slow times plus the best times, I average around 20% a year by holding the lots.
I love the fact that you're doing it done for you. And, somebody even listening to this, you can take what Michael's doing and duplicate it in different markets. And there's markets like this all over the country. But that's cool. Michael, I know there's a lot of people looking at this thinking, That's awesome that you do all of that. I don't want to do it myself. How can I get a hold of you? How can you do it for me?
Sure. So I don't know if you're able to put something in the chat where they can see it, but it's
Yeah.
my calendar is meetwithmichaelpoggi.com. That's
Let me add that.
Michael, and then Poggi, michaelpoggi.com. But also, I have a webinar right now that runs every Tuesday evening from 7 p.m. Eastern time to 8:30, an hour and a half. It's like a workshop, and we actually showcase that subdivision, and we talk about IRAs, 401k plans. And in order to get on that webinar, they would simply register by going to www.buildwealthwithland.com, buildwealthwithland.com, which is an hour and a half webinar every Tuesday evening from 7 p.m. to 8:30 Eastern time. And I'll be on the call. I actually go on and introduce myself to all of the investors that are coming in, and then we go through IRAs, 401k plans, vacant lots in the resort that I do. So by the time we finish with that, you'll pretty much know 90% of what you need. And then to follow up, you're welcome to hop on my calendar for that consultation where we can then look at your specific situation. Like, what do you have in stocks? What do you have in mutual funds? What do you have in IRAs or 401k plans, whether they're new 401k plans or old ones, and or LLC money or cash? We go through all of that, similar to a financial planner, but consider me a financial planner for real estate. I'm an expert at stocks and mutual funds because I did it for so many years in Chicago, but I'm also a super expert in investing in real estate. And that's where we would talk about your personal goals. Are you looking for short-term passive income, or are you looking for long-term growth? Once we've decided that, we put together a plan for you and we execute it based on your comfort level. Very simple.
Yeah. Buildwealthwithland.com.
Yes, sir.
I have it on the screen there, and then meet with Michael Poggi, Poggi.
Poggi.
Poggi. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. I asked you earlier the correct way and I screwed it up. But hey, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to be on my podcast. I appreciate you.
So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate your questions too. You know exactly what to ask. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you all later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.